after divorce, for a Christian person or couple, it could be many different things to many situations. I'm just going to speak on mine. A lot of Christian couples in my situation are divorced for the right reasons. According to the Word of God, it is said that to flee a hot tempered man. So, in my case, I fled a hot tempered man. My ex was what had anger management problems and went to class and was ordered by the judge. And he had extensive abuse issues that stemmed way back before we were married. And I think I made the wrong decision about getting married. So this was actually before we got married. So the decision to get married was probably the wrong decision to begin with. And that was because of talking to the pastor that didn't want to marry us. So there was a little more going on there than just what I'm talking about. Like, we went and got married without the pastor's permission. So let's just say disobedience. The pastor would have married us if he thought we were in the right situation. And I think that there lies the problem. We were married for 11 years, but that being said, our marriage ended in abuse. This is to the atheists and agnostics too, because they think that Christians are perfect. A lot of Christians are worldly too. They step into the world just like anybody else. They're living their lives and do just as much as the same things that anybody else does. It could be just as the same as anybody else. They're a melting pot. So for that person who says, well, I thought Christians were perfect, or I thought Christians were this or that, that's just a mischaracterization. And I think that you want to dispel these rumors or beliefs. A lot of people have these beliefs about Christian couples. They're supposed to be perfect. They're supposed to be like walk on water. It's not true. The only one that does that is Jesus himself. I've never heard of a perfect Christian marriage. It has its share of problems, and some have more problems than others admit. So there is a high percentage of Christian marriages that end in divorce. Some are financial, some are extreme, like in my case. So when I discuss life after divorce, I think that it was the right decision. Not only do I think it, I also have permission from the church to continue with the divorce because I felt it was necessary to get affirmation. But that was important just to get that acknowledgement. But I also had the acknowledgement of the law enforcement as well and the judge. And that was important to rectify anything as far as life going forward. But there's a lot of people that make these assumptions that Christians are perfect in their marriages, and we know that's not true. We know that dispel the fallacy. There are a lot of Christians that are in marriages where there's abuse going on, all kinds of issues, spiritual abuse especially, and there's controlling factors involved. If we talk about all the other things, we'd be here for a while, so I'm not going to go into all the depth of the issues. But life after divorce, it was cleanup. It was just basically like playing baseball. you had to catch the problem first and then rectify the situation, wipe your feet off, hands off, and get your hands dirty again. And what happened was I didn't lose everything all at once. It happened incrementally. I didn't like lose my house. I didn't lose my furniture. I didn't lose my car. It just happened over time. He did not pay alimony. He did not do any of that. He was supposed to, but he somehow got around not doing that. He was cheating, and he ended up marrying the girl that he cheated on me with. So there was no contact between us at that point. So I went about my business. My truck ended up on the side of the road, broke down. A tow truck towed it away. Whether it was illegal or not, it was broke down, and a tow truck just showed up and pulled it away without my permission. And I went to court over it. And long story short, he won, and I had to pay the tow truck company for the storage fees. And long story short, I got the truck back, but by then they had left it in the mud and it eroded the frame of the truck. They left it literally in the mud. So I got whatever belongings out of my truck and salvaged whatever I could and took it to the salvage yard. So I've been walking everywhere and pretty much got a cart for my groceries yesterday. So I've been living on a very small income and trying to go back to work. But for years, I was a housewife with no skills, no really anything, and just making it that way for a long time. So I haven't really gone through the divorce easily. I'm just learning how to adapt again. I just got my name changed back to my maiden name over the last year or so, and I'm making the changes again. I've lived here for a number of years, getting used to the idea. I was homeless for a short time, and I managed to get out of that situation and get help as a veteran. And luckily there was resources available at the time when I was in that situation, and got on my feet, slowly, gradually accumulated belongings and things, and got on my feet. And now the resources are there. It's still a fragile situation. So recuperating from a divorce takes a long time. It may take longer than I thought. I didn't know how long. But dating after divorce has been terrible. I do not really like it at all. I don't want to date at all. I have no desire to date. I tried. I have been not successful. I have not had the desire to date. I think it's also given me an incentive to want to know the Lord more. The more I try to date, the more I want to know Jesus more, put it that way. So I'll finish with this. I just think that every time I've ever gone on a date, it's given me more reason to go to the Bible and start digging away at reading. And oh, so sorry, I'm so sweaty. I just start reading and wanting to know more about Jesus. And I guess there's some truth to this, that the Lord is the jealous God. He doesn't want us to worry about looking for a mate and worrying about all those things. But for those people that think that Christians have perfect marriages, I was in a quote Christian marriage, and it was anything but that. It was an abusive, horrible experience, and it involved courts and judges and women's shelters and hospitalizations and everything that no marriage should ever go through. So exiting that marriage was a blessing, and it's still a blessing. I'm blessed for surviving that marriage. So I don't want to listen to this rhetoric from the people that I listen to about what it is to be in a Christian marriage when it's anything but Christian. You know, he called himself a Christian, but he was castigating God and calling God all kinds of names, and he was a deacon too. And it was awful being in that marriage. It was awful. It was an awful experience to be in a quote Christian marriage with a man who was abusive completely. So it's taken me years to recover. And life after divorce is a blessing. It's a miracle I'm alive. It's a miracle that I can say these things now. But for somebody that's not going through that or hasn't gone through that, I hope this is a warning that not all Christian marriages are made out of heaven. And maybe it's a warning to that person that is seeing the red flags early on not to go forward, because I talked myself into that marriage and I really did think that it could work, and I didn't listen to the people that were warning me to get out while I had a chance, but I didn't listen. And that was life after divorce for me, is that I learned my lesson afterwards. Thanks for listening. Thanks, and God bless.